Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We have another update on the Chris and Shanann Watts property. There was an article published by the International Journal on April 11th, 2022 by Sheila Flynn. She spoke to a bankruptcy lawyer about the possibility of the people's interest to purchase the Watts home. Article states, the Chris Watts murder house has become a sickening shrine and people around the world are clamoring to buy it. Interested buyers from as far away as Germany are calling every week to inquire about the Colorado home, where the convicted murderer Chris Watts and his wife Shanann built their life. Before he killed the pregnant mother and their two daughters, one local attorney, Clark Dre, tells The Independent, it's hard for me to say. Some of it is morbid curiosity. Some of it is just people having a hard time getting a home in this market, and they'll do whatever it takes. As of now, the home in the quiet subdivision a half-hour north of Denver remains in legal limbo, and as potential buyers clamor to move onto the street, residents of the neighborhood are fed up with the attention. Some have already sold and left. One neighbor said, we're sick of it. Another who'd lived there at the time says that certain neighbors innocently gave interviews about the case, subsequently hounded, forcing them to flee. Others are fed up with the tragedy tourists constantly driving by and stopping to take pictures. Not only is the empty Watts home padlocked and peppered with signs warning that the police will be called, but nearby neighbors have also posted similar warnings on their doors or properties. Shanann's parents settled a $6 million wrongful death suit with Chris Watts in 2019, prompting a lien to be applied to the Frederick, Colorado house, meaning that proceeds from any sale would be turned over to them. The Neighborhood Homeowners Association also has a lien on the property, which was unsuccessfully put up for auction by the bank last year. Mr. Dre told The Independent they started to foreclose, but then they realized this is me interpreting what they're doing. They thought this lien was on there and they thought we don't want this, describing the HOA maintenance and everything else, and also keeping squatters out. If they foreclosed, they'd be stuck on this dramatically underwater property. He was not personally involved in the Watts case, but after being quoted about bankruptcy and foreclosure processes in connection with the house, found himself constantly fielding phone calls from interested parties. He even had to write a memo to his staff explaining why they were getting so many calls. He said, I get calls once a week from people who want to buy that house, calls from people in Germany and people here locally. He said people want to buy it, but it can't be bought. It's not on the market. The rest of the article goes on to speak about the $6 million wrongful death suit, which I'll go through for context. It states, Watts, who turns 37 next month, also agreed to the $6 million wrongful death suit filed by his murdered wife's parents on the same day he pleaded guilty. It's unlikely they'll see anything close to $6 million, if they even get a dime. Though they knew that going in, their lawyer said following the civil suit, it's fairly obvious that Chris Watts doesn't have money, Stephen Lambert said in 2018. He's not O.J. Simpson. We're not going to collect millions out of him. Mr. Lambert did not immediately return a call for comment from The Independent, but when the suit was filed, he said the family's goal was to avoid Watts profiting from the brutal murders. He said, just in case 20 years down the line from now he decides to write a book, we would come for that money. According to the suit, Shanann's parents were unable to eat, sleep, or even leave the house following the murders, especially after Watts' initial claims that his wife had killed their daughters sparked conspiracy theorists and harassment. As Sandy Rusick puts it, she feels like she dies every day and is always missing and crying for her precious family. Even to this day, it is hard for the Rusick family to get out of bed. They cry all the time, every day and every night. Watts has not written a book, but television specials and the murder's shocking callousness has kept the case in the forefront of public consciousness, particularly the Netflix documentary American Murder, The Family Next Door, which premiered in 2020. In case you missed my other video about the Watts house I uploaded on May 5th, you can listen to it now. I always kept an eye on the progress of the foreclosure of their house at 2825 Saratoga Trail, which started on December 11th, 2018. 4 months after Chris Watts annihilated his beautiful family. It was withdrawn on June 24th, 2020, during the pandemic. Here's a list of all the documents you can pull up. JP Morgan Chase Bank is still the current holder of their mortgage, so one would wonder if and who is actually paying the mortgage now that it's not in foreclosure. I think it's quite the mystery. I can't imagine Shanann's parents paying what Chris said was $3,000 a month. So it must be in some kind of legal limbo since it's not on the market for sale either. It was pulled off the market on July 3rd, 2019. We are now in the year of 2022, which is shockingly the 4-year anniversary since their murders. On March 25th, 2022, Shanann's father started the process of a quitclaim deed to wipe Chris's name off of the title of the house and replaced it with his name next to Shanann's. And it was recorded on April 5th, 2022. Her father is surely more of a man than Chris ever was and ever will be. Under the valuation of the property, I found interesting, now in 2022, its value is $571,696. I really hope her parents are able to sell the house, even though that won't bring their family back. But in my opinion, it would benefit to sell now that the markets are up. In 2018, it was valued at $484,339 after he annihilated his family, plus to get rid of those demonic memories of Chris Watts. It'll be interesting to see what happens to this tragic, senseless ending, where those beautiful souls laid their heads every night in the trust of the one man who was supposed to protect them.
It was just happening so fast. I had no time to really have a thought that was my own. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become. It just felt like somebody was like behind me, just like I just couldn't let go.